And Tucker, good afternoon to you. I've missed you too. Haven't heard from you for a while. I hope you are well. It's always nice hearing from you. You asked if there are, or if I know of twins that have become guides, because you two are twins, and you say you'd like to be guides when you grow up. I'm sure there have been twins that have been guides. I don't know of any, actually. So Tula Ann and Tucker, maybe you'll be the first ones that I know. When you're big, give me a call and we'll help you train and become guides. Maybe you're the future Safari Live presenters, who knows? That'd be great. Then I can send you questions. Tula and Tucker, imagine that. Byron from Johannesburg wants to know. Alright, now I'm going back down towards Chitwa Dam. I'm going to see if we've got signal down there quickly. While I do that, let's head back to...
I'm busy putting everything back where it was before James returns from his adventures on the other side of the river. Hopefully he might be out and about shortly. We're just trying to find out. He's trying to get signal. I know Scott is trying to get down to the bottom. We're hoping that they will both be back with signal shortly. So I was actually having a look at some more Maasai fairy tales while you were gone. Let's just say there's not many how does one put this, flowers and fairies and fairy tales. Some of them are quite dark, so I do have another one, and it is called The Child of the Knee. So there was a very cruel Maasai man who was very mean to his wife, and he was very lazy, so he did not do anything, and he forced his wife to do everything all the time, and this poor woman was worked to the bone, and then she became pregnant. And even though she was pregnant, he kept that same work going and going from sunrise to sunset. This poor lady was working. She was doing what was traditionally men's job. She was looking after the cows, putting the calves away, milking the cows before dawn so her husband could have milk before, and eventually on the eve of the birth of her daughters, she died. And she did not give birth to any children. The children did not survive. And then after she died, the old man was even more grumpy and more mean than he usually was to everyone around. And all of a sudden, a large boil started growing on his knee, and he left it for many weeks and many months, till eventually he was like, this boil is not coming to a head, I'm going to cut it open. So he took his knife and he sliced it open, and out popped two adorable twin daughters. And he was ecstatic to have daughters, and it was a very difficult time for him because he had to now work at the same time while caring for two infant children. So when he has to take the cows out, you strap one on his tummy, one on his back, and he looked after them. And when they got old enough that they might pique the interest of the local menfolk, he used to lock them up inside, or they used to lock themselves inside, and he used to sing a song. It seems like all these Maasai fairy tales have songs, and I'm not a singer, but it was a daughter of the knee, let me in, he who feeds you. And then they would know it was their dad, and they opened it. And that carried on for many, many moons, until one day the local enemy village was in the area, and they heard the chatter of two girls inside, and they waited to see how they could get into the house. And the dad came back and put the cows away and came and he sang the song, daughters of the knee. Where you came up with daughters of the knee, it's quite a strange concept, but and they would open up. And so the next day when he took the cows out, two men decided to come and sing the song, and the girls immediately opened, and they were abducted and taken off to the next village, where they found husbands and happy lives. And the moral of the story at the end of this is, and I quite like this about the Maasai stories, they're very sharp, short, and to the point. Basically, because he was a cruel, old, mean man, his wife died and his daughters were taken away from him, and he should die alone. The end. So, another one of those is quite funny. Now, we decided to show you what, well, this is from my car, that we sleep on when we're out there. So we actually put this there, and initially, I wish I had version 1.0. Version 1.0 was about this thin, and you could feel the cold steel. So basically, version 2.0, because it has to be small enough to fit on the vehicle, is a full mattress folded in two, and then covered in a shuka. And the one problem we do face when lying on these is, especially since you're right on the edge of the vehicle, is that you don't roll the wrong way. So what we normally do is put a stick in the side of the car. So in case you roll, you wake up hopefully before you fall into the lion's jaws. But let's go to Scott, who's finally made it down the mountain.
Yes, welcome on board, and I've made it down the mountain along with Craig on camera, and it is good to be out. For now, as you can see, we're still closed up. Whoa! And the roads are a bit slippery. You may have noticed the vehicle just slipped a little bit there. And what we're probably going to do is be able to lift up this front flap and these side flaps, because it does appear to have stopped raining. We're slowly modifying the vehicles. This little plastic window is a new addition from today, and as Craig pans to the left, he will show you his little peephole that we can also use to film in more kind of hectic conditions. But like I say, the rain does seem to have stopped, so we are going to lift up the flaps once we get to the main road off of our driveway, and then see what we can go and find. I am probably going to stick to the main roads and not even drive on the smaller 2 tracks or do any off-roading. We got a decent amount of rain, and as you may have noticed a little bit earlier, even on this road we slipped and slid a little bit more than I would have liked to. And the main thing and reason why we wouldn't want to do that is not because these vehicles can't, but because you do just cause quite a lot of damage to the roads if you travel on them in soupy conditions like this. Hope you've been having fun with Brent and his tales. I'm told he showed you his special mattress. Very good. Hi Tina, you would like to know how long does it take on average to be able to kind of know your way around? And to be honest, here in the Mara it's been quite easy because it's very open, so you can see very far and then you can work off certain landmarks. The mountain behind us, or kind of escarpment called the Olololo Escarpment, is a massive feature that runs north-south all the way along the western boundary of the park, and then there's certain little hills and areas that you kind of get used to. So this area was easy. Somewhere like the Sabi Sands can be a lot more tricky though, because it's thicker, lots of valleys, you can't see as far. So I mean, even now, even though we don't know every road that we may be traveling on, we've got a very good idea just in 3 months of kind of where we're going and where we are at any given stage. Okie dokie. So, like I said, it does appear to have stopped raining now, so we are going to take about 5 minutes to put our flaps up, and then we'll be able to start searching with a bit more efficiency, and hopefully we'll be finding you something interesting. I'm not too sure what to expect, but what I can assure you is that we are going to have some beautiful views of some very squeaky clean animals having been drenched clean by the rain. Good. We'll be a couple of minutes putting the flaps up, and in the meantime we're going to send you over to Byron down in Djuma.
Now have a look at this. We've just found there's some beautiful golden light on this group of, or flock of red-billed Queleas. Now I spoke about them earlier. I saw thousands of them down at the river, the Sand River, a few weeks ago. There are still quite a few around in the area. Look at that. Oh, wonderful. See how they all take off at the same time? That was perfect timing. I find them fascinating, how they fly together. And this is it. Oh, there they go. There they go. That is great. And with them all taking off and flying over you like this, you hear them. You hear all those wings and them moving through the air. That's a wonderful sound. Nice to see those red-billed Queleas. Now, when they fly together in the Alright, sorry, I think our signal just was lost there slightly. So I'm just going to check the dam here. So as I was saying, that queleas that we see flying together, they fly in those huge flocks and they move across the sky like that, and that's known as a murmuration. A murmuration of queleas flying across the sky. Now, Nikki, to be honest, I think sometimes these birds do fly into each other. You asked how they don't. Now, in a small group like what we just saw, they probably don't. But in larger flocks, I do think sometimes they bump into each other. Mainly, though, when they are perched on trees and going to settle down for the night. I think that's generally when they'll bump into one another. But when they're flying, it's amazing, and I don't think we really understand it. Communication within the flock, they change direction at the same time. It's who knows? It's amazing. That's what it is. I don't know how else to explain it. But yeah, the fact that they don't bump into each other all the time is fascinating. And I wonder if our giant eagle owl is still around. Remember we saw a few weeks ago, we were seeing a giant eagle owl regularly in this area. Beautiful.
So, I was looking at the Twitter, and apparently there's alarms going off, according to Holly, about the emergency situation of my size 12 boots in the studio. And there's a definite no shoe sign on the door. Now that no shoe sign is only if you are not presenting out of the studio. Now, as you can see that spotless. Oh, now we've got Ferg's feet. There we go. Ferg's feet are clean. But now, of course, let me see. Now, there is one no-shoe rule that is in the studio for sure, and that is no shoes on James's red chair. Actually, I don't think anyone else is allowed to sit on James's red chair. Should I put my shoes on James's red chair? Is very far away on the other side of the Mara, because if he was here, I would be in really big trouble. Now, my shoes are actually quite... Apparently we're getting frozen picture. I think it could be due to the weather. There's a lot of rain coming in again. So you can see the bottom of my shoes are actually car treads. So made out of car tire. The top of my shoes are made out of buffalo skin, and the soft part of my shoes are made out of impala skin. Now, these are custom built boots. You can't actually just buy a pair of these boots, this particular No, we're back. Maybe you can hear me. Unfortunately, there's so we are.
Well, it sounds like it's quite a tricky afternoon for this safari, and I'm not sure how long you were left without a picture, but at least you're back with us now. As soon as we lifted up the one flap on the left-hand side of the vehicle, and thankfully we started with that when it started raining, but the wind is blowing in this direction. So at the moment, we've left this one behind me closed. As you can see, the wind is pushing it back, which means the wind is not coming into the left-hand side of the vehicle. So at least we can see out of there. Ta-da! Beautiful. And Craig was just busy rigging on his infrared lights so that we are ready for darkness, which is coming at us quite quickly. It seems that if this weather persists, it's going to be kind of futile us being out here, but we'll stay out as long as we possibly can and try our best. Who knows what exciting stuff we may bump into, and it would be wonderful to film some action in the rain. Hello Adele, you'd like to know if young lion cubs would be okay in this weather, and yes, I mean, the only kind of risk in very rainy weather for me about lion cubs would be them getting washed away. So if they were kind of nestled in a riverbed somewhere in a den site, they may end up drowning, and that does happen from time to time. I've never had any confirmed cases, but lots of guides and trackers I've worked with have got stories of leopards and lions in the Sabi sands getting drowned in flash floods. But thankfully, that's probably not likely in the rain that we're getting now. It's pitter-patter, and even though maybe over the last hour or two we've had a decent amount, it's not enough to cause any flash flooding. So their little furry coats will keep them nice and warm. I guess possibly if a cub was sick or weak, this cold weather may cause some trouble. No different to us as humans. The extreme conditions and changes in temperature will also bring out the worst in us when we are weak. Let's take a look at some antelope. Just at about, there we go. Wonderful. And zebras. So there's a topi in and amongst some zebra there. And they're all just jumping for joy, because they know this rain is going to provide them with tasty, green, lush grass. Oh, there's also an elephant right on the back kind of left of your screen. Hello. Bit of a photo bomb. That's one of the rangers heading back to his camp. Some thunder rumbling behind us. Hello, Kristen. You'd like to know if any parts of the Mara will flood during these rains. And yes, the Mara is like a giant basin, really, that receives a lot of water and becomes very swamp-like in a lot of portions of the reserve. And that's a big reason why it is so lush. It gets huge amounts of rainfall. The watershed, both to the east, west and north, is considerable, so a lot of water ends up filtering down into this massive basin you're looking at. And yes, I mean, I've never been here in the rainy season, but I can assure you, even after the short bit of rain we've seen, that come the proper rainy seasons, we are going to have our work cut out for us, because we are going to be able to do very little off-roading, and like I said a bit earlier, maybe some of even the 2 tracks that we would ordinarily travel down will be impassable. So there are lots of swampy areas, that is for certain. It'll be interesting to know how much of the actual reserve is covered in swampy, inaccessible spots during the rainy seasons. I would guess maybe as much as a third, possibly a quarter, we would be able to traverse now, but definitely not after any substantial rains. After a major deluge we had about 4 days ago, when we all came out and looked down into the Mara Basin, it was literally shimmering with water everywhere. There was a huge amount of water seeping into the earth. I'm not sure if you can hear the rain is getting a little bit harder. Oh, there was a flash of lightning, you may have noticed that. Hi Granny, you would like to know if the rainy season provides any trouble for nesting birds, and yes, it certainly does. Big windy storms will blow nests or eggs or chicks, or all 3 of the above, straight out of the trees. So I have seen that happen. Some of you may actually remember, there was what bird was it? I can't remember what bird it was exactly, so I'm having a nightmare, but I remember we were monitoring a bird after a big storm, and there was just no more nest. where we had been monitoring the parents' kind of progress on things. I think they may have even had chicks in it, sadly. So yes, I mean, rainy, stormy conditions do provide some hardships for the birds that nest in the trees. Obviously, birds that nest in cavities may get flooded. So yes, I think the rain does bring with it its fair amount of admin for the wildlife, or certain wildlife at least. Very good. Now, I'm not sure what we should do, because I'm not going to be able to shine a spotlight. I'm not going to be able to use my infrared tool to help search for animals, which means we are basically kind of in a tricky spot regarding what to do next for this safari. If we continue down this road, the wind will continue to be in our favor, but it's going to be tricky to see out. I guess I can shine out this side with the spotlight. Anyway, let's try and work things out on what we are going to do here. And whilst we do that, you'll be glad to know Byron is back in signal and is wanting you to jump on board his vehicle.
Yeah, I have got some signal back, which is great. Still a bit of hay fever though, but the signal is back, which is okay. I'm having a look. I'm trying to head now towards Nyala Dam. Just see if there's maybe something around there. Something that pops out for us. Just going to do a quick check. And if not, I'm going to, trying to think of our time, I might shoot up towards that Hyena Den. Maybe we've still got a bit of lights. I think we're running out of lights. I don't know if I'll get there in time though, to be honest. Oh, Boyd, you asked what animals are the most curious about vehicles. I'd have to say the hyena. Especially if you're at a den site, the hyena will come up and they'll smell and sniff around. What else? I would say, I think a hyena. The other animals tend to keep their distance. Sometimes young leopard or lion cubs, if the mothers are there, they'll sometimes come and have a look, but they're still wary, they're still cautious. Let's have a look. Oh, there's some Guinea Fowl right down here. There they are. Some Egyptian geese making a noise, but a lot of Guinea Fowl. I always find the Guinea Fowl very beautiful. There you can see the Egyptian geese. I can hear oxpeckers, but I can't see any animals. I say that because often we know oxpeckers are a great indicator that there might be some animals around, because they sit and pick off all the ticks. I can hear some African green pigeons. African green pigeon. Something like that. That's kind of what it sounds like. Granny, you asked, are some of the dams filling up yet? Now, they are. Well, a few of them. I must be honest, just having a look now quickly. So if you're just at Nyala Dam, there's definitely a bit more water in there, that's for sure. From when I was last here. So I would say the dams are starting to fill up slowly. But what I have noticed is that there are a number of puddles around that have filled up because of those rains. And Wiem and I were just commenting that sometimes it might be a bit difficult to find these predators and other animals because they will now drink from the puddles. They won't need to go to the big dams to drink anymore. There's water all over. So that can play a factor with regards to finding animals. I'm trying to think. I'm going to head up towards that Hyena Den just to go and have a look there quickly, maybe before we lose all our light. I think I'll get there in time. Excuse me. Hope you're all still having a wonderful afternoon with us. Because I know we've had some technical issues, but I hope you've still enjoyed it. It's been a beautiful afternoon. Seen some nice things. Sunset is going to be beautiful, I think. Now, Rick, you asked if we get the vulturine guinea fowl around here. So it... I'm trying to... The vulturine, no, that's the one that we get up in the Mara. I think they see it up there, or in East Africa. We don't get it down here. But another guinea fowl that we get is the... is it the crested guinea fowl? And there's some in Nyala right next to us. Hold on. Actually, quite close to camp. It's always nice to see some young in Nyala. And let me just check. I think it's the crested guinea fowl. I've seen the crested guinea fowl, excuse me, I think once in the Sabi sands. I'll show you a picture of that. But the vulturine guinea fowl, we don't get that, if I'm not mistaken. I think that's mainly East Africa, Central and East Africa, I think. I stand to correction, but we don't get it down in Southern Africa. But we get the obviously the helmeted guinea fowl, which we saw, and then I'll show you a picture of the crested guinea fowl shortly. Look at that beautiful golden light, though, on these Nyala, especially these female Nyala. They really are beautiful. And those white stripes and that reddish brown coloration. It's often described out in the bush. Nyala always look like their hair hasn't really been brushed properly. Nice to see a female in Nyala. So let me show you a picture quickly of that crested guinea fowl. So this is one that well, I've seen once in the Sabi sands. Look at that. It's quite a beautiful guinea fowl. Got quite a nice hairdo. I imagine if James had hair, he'd probably have a hairdo like this. What would you say? Don't you think so? I think, yeah, there we go. It's a nice picture. I think I've got some photos back in the day of James with hair. It looks quite similar to that. Who knows, maybe they'll come out at some point. He may just kill me though. Alright, let's head over towards that Hyena Den site. Anna Marie, the carmine bee-eaters, I'm not sure. As I said, we've heard the European bee-eaters, they are back already. I've heard them calling and flying overhead, seen them flying overhead. The carmine, I think a little bit later, usually. It depends. Hopefully we see them. Now, remember last year, we were able to drive down on Chitwa Plains, and we saw all our carmine bee-eaters out there. That's where we saw them last year. They were kind of in those open areas, open grasslands and clearings. So I'm not sure if we're going to see this year. Who knows? Maybe we're lucky and we see some. I hope so. Beautiful birds. Okay, I'm just going to try drive a little bit quicker to get to that hyena den. Alright, now we're going to be starting a school drive soon, but let's go across to Brent in the Mara. Hopefully he's fixed his sound. Let's find out what his plans are in the control room.
Welcome to Pedro San Patricio on your 35th anniversary. So a really big welcome to one of our schools from Mexico, and we're going to take you on a live African adventure. Of course, normally you would find me in the bush, but we've had such big storms that I'm going to hang out with my friend the crocodile, the hippopotamus, and other wonderful things. So guys, at Pedro San Patricio, please send your questions. I would love to hear from you. And you know what? Mexico is one of the countries I really want to visit, and also one of the countries where one of my favorite cats I've never seen lives, the jaguar. Now, we're going to have to ask you a couple of questions. So we've got a couple of skulls here. Now, we have a cheetah skull, we have a leopard skull, and at some point we had a lion skull. We do have a lion skull. Now, because jaguars live in Mexico, well, let me turn them around for you there, Fergus. So, there we go. We've got a cheetah skull, we've got a leopard skull, and we've got a lion skull. Now, where do you think, if you had to put a jaguar skull in between, where would the jaguar fit? Would it be bigger than the lion? Would it be smaller than the lion, but bigger than the leopard? Would it be smaller than the leopard, but bigger than the cheetah? Or would it be smaller than the cheetah? Well, I want you guys to tell me what or where does the jaguar skull fit? So, very exciting. I think this is the first school drive I've ever done from Mexico, so I'm very excited. Unfortunately, guys, my Spanish is horrible, so you're going to have to deal with me speaking English. So not only is this a safari lesson, it is also an English lesson. But of course we've got Byron, who's in South Africa. He's driving around looking for leopards and lions in one of the biggest game reserves in Africa, the Kruger National Park, or the Greater Kruger. And Scott is here in Kenya with me, and as I said, I'm in my studio with all the different skulls and bones and things because there's a massive storm. But Scott is being brave, and he's out there in the rain in the Maasai Mara in Kenya. Let's go see what he's up to.
Hello everyone, and so happy to welcome you guys all the way from Mexico. How exciting is that? Almost as exciting as these rainy weather conditions that we're in. Oh, there's somebody trying to overtake us, so we'll just let them go past. I don't have any review mirrors on this funky safari vehicle, and as you'll notice, we've got our flaps down, but this flap is stopping the rain coming in because the wind, you can see, is blowing back towards us. But on this left hand side of the vehicle, where I'm shining the spotlights, we can see, and I'm using the spotlight to try and pick up the eyes of the animals, which will reflect and glow back at us, and hopefully we might find something. There are some lions that live in this area. Maybe there's some hyena that are going to have started looking for their meals this evening, and anything can really happen out here. So even though it's rainy, we might get lucky. Let's hope whatever we're looking for is not on the right hand side of the vehicle, because we can't look that way. And like I say, we could bump into some lion or a number of different interesting nocturnal animals. A lot of the animals will only come out after dark, and they are often the very interesting ones that we don't know too much about. So let me concentrate on trying to find you guys something interesting, and while we do that, we're going to send you back to the dry, beautiful Djuma with Byron.
Oh, don't worry. Yeah, it is dry and it is beautiful. I just spotted some Coqui Franklin running through the grass, but they are very secretive little birds. They're gone. They've just run off, unfortunately. It's always nice to see those little francolins. You don't often see them. Birds flying all around us at the moment. I'm not too far from that Hyena Den. I think it's right here. So let's go and have a look. Maybe we're lucky. Who knows? It would be great to see some young hyena. I think Tristan had them this morning, didn't he? Viam, is that right? Yeah, you did see them, man. Let's have a look here. Oh, there we go. There's a youngster. There is a young one right there. I'm just going to move forward a little bit. Awesome. Look here, everyone. Look at this. And now, the San Patricio. It's wonderful to have you with us on our afternoon safari, and perfect timing. Look at those little hyena cubs running around. Now, you asked what time is it here? Well, it's about 10 to 6 in the early evening. So we quite far ahead of you in time because of where we are around the world. So it might still be morning for you. I'm actually not sure what time it is where you are. In Mexico. I think you're about 6 or 8 hours behind us, if I'm not mistaken. Hope I get that right. Look at that beautiful hyena. Beautiful little cub. Now you see how dark they are when they are young. And the older they get, they will start forming those beautiful little spots. I've just seen another one. Just up there, it's actually running to it. There we go. 2 little cubs. Now look, this one's actually developing some spots already. Do you see that? Just on the side of its shoulder. You can see some of those spots coming through. It's not as dark as the other one. Maybe just developing a bit quicker. They look like the same age, same size. Now, we were chatting earlier how curious and inquisitive these little hyena cubs can be. See him coming and watching us and having a look around. Maybe we're lucky and they come down towards us. I haven't seen an adult around here yet, so I don't want to move too close, just in case we startle them. When the adults are around, they tend to be a lot more relaxed. Santiago, you are asking what animals do we often see at night while we are on safari? Well, Santiago, sometimes hyena. They come out and move around a lot at night, and looking for food. Maybe we're lucky and see lions, leopards. They tend to move around more at night than during the day. So when it's very hot, they like to rest, and at night they will come out and move around. We also get some owls sometimes, little bush babies, beautiful little primates. They look like monkeys. They're called bush babies. You see them jumping around the trees at night. What else? There are a few different animals that come out at night. We call them nocturnal. So that means they're active at night. So there are a few animals, but these are one of the best to see, the hyena. I'm going to try and move around the other side. Maybe there's an adult there. Let's have a look and just see. Hold on. I'm just going to come around here. Oh, there are 3 little ones. Wonderful. And they're out in the open. I'm going to sit here very, very quietly. There we go. But you see, there are different ages. There's The two standing are closest to us. Oh, the two standing closest to us are younger, and the one lying down is a little bit older. Let's see. I'm going to move slowly. I don't want to startle them. But you see, I was mentioning this earlier about how curious these animals can get. These little hyena are very curious. I think because that other young one is here, these two are feeling a little bit brave. They're walking around. So they're not completely alone. Aren't they cute? Wonderful to see them. Camilla, you asking, what do hyenas eat? Well, hyena will eat meat, Camilla. They are carnivores. So they will feed on just about any bit of meat that they can find. They don't, out here, they don't often hunt for themselves, but in the Maasai Mara in East Africa, where our friends are at the moment, they do hunt a lot up there. But in these areas, the hyena will try to chase animals like a leopard off their kills. If the leopard kills an impala, for example, which is a type of antelope we get here, if they kill the impala, then the hyenas often come in and try and chase them away so that they can steal their kill. The hyena are very, very powerful, the big adults. They're very curious and inquisitive, running around or moving around. This one's still lying, enjoying the termite mound. Nice little stretch. Excuse me. Sorry, everyone. I've got some hay fever. There's a lot of pollen around at the moment. We're going into our summer now, and we had some rain the other day, so hopefully the bush that you can see around us will start turning green very soon. Andreas, you asked, what is the strongest animal we see? Well, that is easy. The strongest animal out here is, of course, the big elephants. They are the most powerful and definitely the strongest. They are able to push over trees. No animals like to get in the way of elephant. So definitely the elephant would be the strongest. And I also think one of the smartest. Oh, look how playful these little ones are. Unfortunately, we didn't find elephant this afternoon. I was looking around for them, but we move through such a big area that these animals can go wherever they want. So when we do see them, we're very, very fortunate. We're lucky to see them and spend time with them. And these hyena are nice and close to us. They don't feel scared of the vehicles. They're coming right up to us. This one's got a floppy ear. What happened to your ear, little one? Now, we might not be able to show you them all the time because they'll be so close to us we won't be able to turn the camera around. Oh, look here, this one's coming right up to me. Right here. Hello, little one. I don't want them to get too close. Now, the reason I say that is because we don't want them to get too used to the vehicles. That's very, very nice. So we just don't want, as I said, don't want them to get too close. The reason for that is just safety for us and for the animals. So yeah, they're curious and they come up, but then sometimes if they get too close, we'll just tap the vehicle, maybe make a little noise, just so they don't get too used to us. You must remember, they are still wild animals, so we do have to be careful. Because if they learn to just come right up to the vehicles when they're bigger and older, it can be difficult. Juan Pablo, you asked what is the most dangerous experience I've had. Now, Juan, it's difficult. I've been very fortunate. I haven't had dangerous encounters as such, but we always have to be careful. Yeah, I've been charged once by an elephant, Juan, and that for me was probably the closest encounter I've closest to being dangerous. I didn't have guests with me. I was by myself, walking, and but we disturbed the elephant, or I disturbed the elephant, and that's why he turned and charged. So it wasn't the elephant's fault. It was ours. And you need to remember, animals only feel threatened or only act aggressively when they feel threatened. So if they feel like they're in trouble or there's danger around, that's when they probably choose to charge or to try and attack you. They'll never just do it for no reason. Yeah, so my closest encounter has been with elephant. But I've been very lucky, but also very careful and respectful of the animals. Always need to be respectful. Alright, well, it's starting to get a bit dark here. I'm not going to stay with these hyena. I'm going to leave them now so they can get some rest in their hyena den. While I move out of here, let's go across to my friend Brent in the Mara, and he's got some interesting skulls to show you.
Now, I asked you guys about the size of a jaguar skull and compared to a lion, leopard, and cheetah. Now, I've added a skull here. That is not a jaguar. That is what you've just been looking at with Byron. It is a hyena. The difference, I'm going to open it. In the tooth structure, the cat's teeth are
Hello everyone, sorry, I'm not sure why you lost or you were enjoying him explaining all those different skulls and shapes and sizes of the various big cats on the planet. We've just stopped here and we're hoping to show you some lightning. There's been some incredible lightning off in the distance. And what's also interesting is oh, look at that. Wonderful. Now, all that lightning is occurring over a country to the south of where we are here in Kenya called Tanzania. And that's why all the migrating wildebeest have left us here, because there's more rain down in Tanzania, and the wildebeest know where there's more rain, there's going to be more tasty grass to feed on. So they follow the rains, and we are at the moment trying to hide from the rain. We've still got 3 sides of our vehicle flaps down and just one side open. And you can still see a few raindrops falling in the screen in and amongst all the bugs that are getting attracted to the light that shines on my face. Interestingly though, the light and the picture that you are seeing now is being lit up by an infrared light. So this is a very special camera being used with the help of some infrared lights that none of the animals or us as humans can see. So it's pitch black outside. Why don't you hit the infrared lights to show them, switch them off there, Craig? So that's what it looks like outside. And when we turn on the infrared lights on the camera, it illuminates the scene. But what that means is that it allows us as humans to be able to follow the animals and watch what they're doing without interfering. Because you can imagine if there was a lion trying to stalk up to its prey in this grass. If we were to shine a spotlight on the lion, of course the prey would see it. Oh, look at that! That was incredible. And I'm certainly glad I am anywhere near that. Whew. Sheesh. So like I was saying, if we were to shine a spotlight on the lion, then obviously the antelope would see it. If we were to shine a spotlight on the antelope, well then the antelope would be blinded and the lion would be able to catch it very easily. So we don't use a spotlight once we found the animals. We switch off all the other lights and just use the infrared lights. Talking about lions hunting, this weather is wonderful conditions for lions to hunt in, and there's a few reasons why. The main one being that the sound of their footsteps as they approach their prey will be muffled by all the noise of the wind and the rain pitter-pattering on the ground, so it's going to be very difficult for their prey to hear them or know what strange noises are being caused by either the wind or maybe a lion sneaking up on them. Also, lightning will make the antelope's eyes adjust to the light, even though it's temporary. Just like when you walk into a room and switch on the lights, it takes a while to see, or if you walk into a dark room, it takes a while for your eyes to adjust. So the changes in light will mean that the lions who've got much better night vision will be able to probably creep up on their prey that could well be blinded. So you would have noticed the infrared lights went off there, and now you can see me lit up with my little light that's below me. And we're going to probably start heading back towards camp now and see what we can find along the way home. But you'll be glad to know you're going to be jumping on board with Byron, who's still in sunny and light South Africa.
Oh, you are back with us indeed, and we're driving around trying to see if we can find some nocturnal animals. Oh, sorry. I'm sneezing a lot today, everyone. It's not nice. Oh, hay fever. It's terrible. I'm going to take some medicine when I get back. Now, let's see. I'm going to pretty soon get my spotlight out, and we can see if we can find some animals that are active at night. We've got a little bit of time left, so who knows. It's not quite dark enough yet to use the spotlight. Now, Camilla, you are wondering if there are any species that are becoming extinct. Well, Camilla, there's some species that we say are endangered, and we do have to look after them. And one of those species is, of course, the rhino. Now, the rhino are a crucial part of the ecosystem out in Africa, and unfortunately, they do get poached unnecessarily, and that's very, very sad. So we do our very best to conserve and look after the wild rhino in Africa. They become extinct, so we try, and as guides and people who bring bring guests out on safari, and we're involved with conservation, we always try to make people aware of the importance of conservation and saving these animals that we see out here. So all of you who are on, or with us while you're sitting at school, hopefully you learn a little bit about conservation, and you can go home and tell all your friends and your family to please help conserve and look after the wildlife. Otherwise, when you get big, there might not be animals to look at anymore, which would be very, very sad. Aria, you asked what is the most dangerous animal we see out here. It's difficult, because remember I was saying, the animals aren't necessarily dangerous unless they feel threatened or scared, and just to protect themselves. But I mean, the powerful animals that could easily kill us if they felt threatened would be lions. The first one would be the lion, obviously. Very big, powerful animal, sharp teeth, sharp claws. So you would have to be very careful of lions. Adele, you asked what is the most harmless animal out here. I wonder. Perhaps a little mouse. We've got a number of different mice out here. Little mouse, or what else? VM, what would you say do you think is the most harmless animal out here? A bush baby, maybe?
They eat insects.
They eat insects. Ah, right, okay. That's true, I suppose. Sometimes the bush babies, so they eat insects, are harmless. Maybe the grey go-away bird. There's a beautiful grey bird we get out here called the grey go-away bird. I didn't see them. Where? Oh, jeez. I'm sorry, everyone. Hold on a second. We spotted. There they are. I'm busy talking to the camera and I didn't even spot these wonderful animals, my favorite animals. And I just said to you, I'm surprised we hadn't found any this afternoon yet. But we found them now. See, it just shows you it helps having extra eyes on the car to help spot. There we go, they're coming towards us. Look at this, everyone. The whole group of elephant. Hold on, I'm going to get us into a nice position. Oh, wow. There we go. Oh, little head shake. Look at that, beautiful. Santiago, you asking what do elephants eat? Well, they eat any of the vegetation. Now, Santiago, that means any of the grass or the trees, the leaves or branches. Only vegetation. Now, this one is moving over towards us. I'm going to keep quiet. Looks like a male. So let's see what he decides to do. Isn't he beautiful? I'm just going to watch him. We'll sit very, very quietly. See what he decides to do. It would be wonderful if he decided to walk past us. There's enough space for him to get past if he chooses to. See how he's lifting his trunk? He's busy smelling us. He wants to know, are we a threat? Are we dangerous? Look at that. See? Smelling us very carefully with his trunk. I can hear some of the other elephant in the distance. Isn't this wonderful, everyone? Yes, Cara, you asked what animal eats the most. Well, definitely these big elephant. Now, these big elephant can eat a number of kilograms of food a day. They can eat almost 200, 250 kilograms of food. That's a lot of vegetation, a lot of plants and grass and leaves that they need to eat. And this one seems like he's getting a bit relaxed now. Isn't he beautiful? Beautiful big elephant. Camilla, you wondered how the elephants find water. Well, Camilla, they often will pick up on the smell. They've got a very, very sensitive sense of smell. So they, look how powerful he is, trying to scratch and break those trees, scratching the ground, trying to get to roots, breaking the branches so he can feed on the branches. Let me reverse a little bit for you, Vim. We'll get a better view of him. Hold on. Sorry, you don't like the sound of the vehicle starting. So as I was saying, their sense of smell is very good, so they can often smell where the water is. Sorry, Vim, is that okay? Probably the main way. There you can see that other elephant in the background. See those beautiful tusks? And they'll use that to sometimes break the branches. They use those tusks, push the trees. You might see him use them now. Let's have a look. Is he using the one tusk? You just push that branch. Yeah, a little bit. And his trunk. So Camilla, as I was saying, the elephant will smell the water, probably use their sense of smell to find the water. Often what they do then, if it's very dry in areas, they will go and they'll dig water. Like you can see this elephant digging with its foot there now. They'll dig in certain areas where they think the water level is fairly high underground. And they'll dig in riverbeds, dry riverbeds. And often if they dig deep enough, they'll get to water. Andreas, you asked what is the most playful animal? Well, that's always difficult to say, but I must admit, I think it'll be any young animal tends to be very playful. Little lion cubs, leopard cubs, young elephant. A number of animals that are very, very playful. My friend Louise in the control room is saying wildebeest. She says they're very playful. We've seen young wildebeest. They tend to run around. They are quite playful. You can hear some nocturnal birds calling at the moment. Night jars. Isn't this wonderful? Lovely sighting. So relaxed. So happy with us being close to him. I think we've had such a nice view of this elephant. Let's drive around a little bit more and see maybe we can find something else. I hope I don't give him another fright. And I'll start the car. Lucy asked, how do I stay safe in a safari, or how do we stay safe? Well, we're very careful. Sorry, I don't want to chase that elephant away. Always very careful, but on the vehicles we're quite safe. Don't have to worry about the animals really charging the vehicles too often. But you have to be respectful of the animals. That's the most important thing. What else? Yeah, I think that's the main thing. Be respectful. Don't try to get too close. If the animals choose to move closer to you, that's okay. But those are the most important things. Also, if you're walking around, you've got to be a bit more careful, because when we're on foot, we look like we are predators. We look a bit different. We're not something that these animals see all the time, because we're standing upright, so we look unusual. So there's really nothing to worry about out here, as long as you're careful, and especially if you come on safari, make sure you've got a qualified guide who knows the bush and can teach you, then you should be very, very safe.
So between a leopard and a lion. So now, lion, not a hyena, leopard, jaguar, clouded leopard, snow leopard and tiger all share a common ancestor. The Panthera family, but their common ancestor is probably a lot older, about 5 million years old. Now, Vicky was wondering about food chains and food dynamics in the bush. So, what have we got to play with? Haha! Now, this is a good example of something that fits very much in the food chain, especially in Kenya, because of the Great Migration. Now, what often happens is the lions will catch the wildebeest, they will eat it, but when the migration's here and there's a lot of food, they might not eat the whole thing, or it could be a lion by itself, and you might get hyenas to come. Now, you can have a very good look at something like this here. Now, lions will not often eat the whole nose off. Hyenas have much stronger jaws. So here we give you an example of where a hyena has eaten the wildebeest as opposed to a lion. So look at that. So you can see the whole nose has been crushed off. Doesn't have his long nose anymore, and has been chewed off, most likely by hyenas, or it could be lions, but lions generally don't do that too often. And so there we go. So after the hyenas have finished, the lions have finished, the jackal, the birds, the vultures, nothing goes to waste out here in the African bush. Now, if we have a look carefully on the horn here, horn moths or fish moths, and they're one of the only animals in the world that can eat hair. So they will burrow in, lay their eggs, and even if we leave this outside after 20 years, no, maybe not that long, maybe about 10 years, all the little horn moths will have eaten every little bit of hair. Now, even if you're a lion or a hyena, sometimes you can't get really deep inside the skull, especially on something big like a hippo or a buffalo. Now, there's a specific species of beetle that will go inside and eat the brain and the sinew and everything that's left inside that the other animals can't get to. So a food cycle is something that is never ending. The wildebeest eat the grass, the lions eat the wildebeest, the hyenas eat what the lions can't, and every little piece of this animal will eventually be used. Things like porcupines will chew on the bones to get calcium to help with their quills. So it is an incredible thing that nothing actually goes to waste out in the African bush. So that is really exciting. Camilla is wondering, what is the hyena's predator? Oh, there goes my torch. It fell out of my pocket. So one thing to keep safe in the bush, never walk around without your torch. Your torch will let you see where the lions are. Okay. Camilla, the biggest killer of hyenas is lions. So, and it is a competition thing. They're not predators. They normally won't eat the hyena, but they will kill the hyena to remove another predator from competing with them. Now, the other biggest predator of hyenas is hyenas. So hyenas will also kill each other if they're from different family groups and they're fighting against each other. Now, the biggest mammal killer of man in the whole of Africa eats grass. You would think it might be the crocodile, or the lion, or the hyena, or the leopard, but it's not. Oh! It's the hippo. Now, hippos kill people for different reasons. You can see these big teeth here. They're made for eating grass. These teeth up here, however, are made for defending themselves or fighting. This is quite an old hippo. You can see by how worn his tusks are. You can see they're very, very worn. But this will chomp a human in half. So what most happens when people get killed by hippos, it's when people are trying to fish near rivers and in little boats, and they get too close to the hippos, and the hippos feel threatened and scared. And when the hippos are scared, their main form of defense is these big teeth, and that's what they use. But I'm going to put the hippo skull down because it's very heavy. And let's go back to Byron and see what he's found on his night drive in the bush.
Now, we're still looking for some nocturnal animals. We've got the spotlights out, hoping to find something running around at night for you. And also, I think we need to wish Colegio and Patricia a very happy 35th birthday, I suppose you could say. The school is 35 years old. That's wonderful. So happy birthday from Safari Live. Hope you're all having a wonderful day celebrating 35 years. Mario, you asked what is the best part of working out here. Well, Mario, for me it's easy. I think the best part is being able to teach and educate people about the wildlife, the animals we see here, the plants, the birds, everything, and hopefully getting people to come out on safari for themselves and come and see what we have to offer. That's definitely my best part, I think, of working out here. And as I said earlier, doing our little bit for conservation, looking after the wildlife of the world, protecting the animals. Now, it's quite difficult to drive around, shine the spotlight, trying to spot animals. I'm trying to look for any reflection. Now, some of the animals, their eyes reflect at night, and you can pick up a bit of a shine. So maybe we're lucky and we find something in the last few minutes. I'm very happy we got to see those elephant though. That was very nice. And those hyena cubs. So you guys are all really lucky this afternoon, because earlier we didn't see too much. So I think the school brought us some luck this afternoon. We found more animals. Now, Fernando, you want to know how much does an elephant weigh? Now, Fernando, a big male elephant can get up to about 5 or 6 tons. So about 5 tons. That's very, very heavy. Can you imagine how powerful and strong a big animal like that elephant can be? All right. Well, it's been great that you all joined us. We're going to head back to Brent in the Maasai Mara, and he's going to say goodbye to all of you.
Well, hello. And I've had so much fun playing with all the bones and skulls, and there is one particularly impressive fellow I haven't got to show you yet. His name, what does James call this one? Hoggy. No, we'll Horatio. No, I think he looks more like a Wally. Wally the warthog. Very impressive warthog. You can see these big tusks here. Now, these big tusks are made to scare the lions. That's not actually what he defends himself with against the lions. What he defends himself with is these bottom tusks that are like razor blades. Well, happy 35th a happy 35th school anniversary for you. Now, it is amazing that schools last that long, and we have loved being with you, and we can't wait to take you on your next safari, and it'll be absolutely wonderful. Hopefully, I won't be playing with bones in the tent. I'll be out in the bush showing you lots of animals like Byron has been and Scott has been trying to do. But from all of us here at Safari Live and Wally the Warthog, bye!